others graduated with very flying colors and have excelled throughout their academic life. But when you take them to institutions to handle leadership roles, there becomes a problem. So in order to address that, we need to have initiatives like this where we can inculcate those human values into these young people so that once they find themselves in those situations, they can be able to carry on the rest. And if you want to solve human problems, you definitely need to know the human issues. And by doing that, it's important that we're able to tap young people at the very earliest stage so that once they take on the leadership baton, it becomes a seamless process. And I'm pretty sure that the Tough Leadership Academy will be doing just that in the next 4 years when it will be graduating over 1,000 young leaders from this very initiative. Well, myself, I've been a beneficiary of organizations that have shaped and molded me into a person I am today. I was in the young people in the media, and we were exposed to a whole lot of, leadership qualities, exposed to issues happening around us, and that has pretty much shaped me into the person I am today, both professionally and personally. And I'm pretty sure that is exactly why Tough deemed it very crucial to have such an academy where we can have these young people very much ready and made to take on the leadership baton. So this is also going to be a program where I would have successful Gambians as well share with us their achievements and challenges in order to help us or inspire us to be more. My name is Fatu Eli Kamaloshi. I like to reserve it for the last because from Monday to today, all that I've been hearing is that Maloshi? Oh, wait. Like, really? Is this all? Like, literally, whoa, she's so small for her name. I hope those of you seeing me for the first time will not say the same. I wasn't feeling good about it, though, but my boss yesterday told me that it is a good thing. So I'm trying to get used to it. I don't know how I feel about that, but I can assure you that today is going to be a very interesting one, and you're all welcome once again. At this juncture, we would have to recognize, of course, as tradition deems fitting, the Muslim prayer first, and we have the very Imam Babali with us here to lead us in that prayer. Imam.
أعوذ بالله العلي القدير من الشيطان الرجيم ثم الصلاة والسلام على مبعوث رحمة للعالمين بشيرا ونذيرا محمد ابن عبد الله وعلى آله والصحابة أجمعين اللهم أرنا حق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا باطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم أهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما عتيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت فإنك يا رب تقضي ولا يقضى عليك فإنه لا يذل من وليت ولا يعز من عاديت تبارك ربنا تعاليت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام اللهم إنا نسألك بلطفك وبلطف اللطفانة لطفك أن تلطف بنا اللهم ألطف بنا وألطف ببلادنا غامبيا وألطف بكل الشركات والحركات مصطفى جاي اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمع خيرية واجعل انفراقنا انفراق المعروف المشكورة يا رب العالمين suñ borom ñu ngi lay ñaan suñ daje bi nga def ko daje bu la soob bu la neex nga def ko daje boo gërëm say jaam waaye boo tànnee say jaam itam yàlla ñu ngi lay ñaan nga gën a barkeel mboolem yëngatu yi Moustapha Ndiaye ak ci li muy yëngatu lu jëme réew mi kanam wàccee jàmm ci réew mi yàlla xam nga ne yow yaay buuri jàmma yaa digle jàmma yaa santaane ñu jàmmoo yàlla ñu ngi lay ñaan nga dooleel képp kuy dox ci jàmma di wax ci jàmma di indi lu ñu boole ci jàmma yàlla ñu ngi lay ñaan nga nasaxal képp kuy taal fitna ak kuy indi fitna ak kay indi tasaaroo yàlla yaa ñu wax ci sa alquran bi inna haadihi ummatukum ummatan wahida ndaxam njoboot gi benn njoboot la yéen a bokkande ya bàyyi mu ne wa ana rabbukum yàlla te nee nañu te moom mooy suñ borom kon yàlla ñu ngi lay ñaan ni ñu defee benn njoboot def ñu benn famille waaye yàlla def ñu it ñu bokk benn xol ndami kenn ci ñun di ndami ñëpp ci ñun safaani kenn ci ñun di safaani ñëpp ci ñun yàlla ñu ngi la ñaan Gambie bi dégmal ay élection di ay politique di ay dem ak ñëw di ay xëccoo yàlla nang ci tuur ndoxi jàmm ndoxi salaam ndoxi yërmande yàlla yaa gën a xam ki baax ci Gambia yàlla tànnal ñu ki gën ku mën a doon yàlla tànnal ñu kiy jëme réew mi kanam yàlla tànnal ñu ki nga xam ne dina def sa santaane te dinañu jàppale ci liñ bugga te duñu rey duñu not du nangu suñu alal duñu génnee suñuy réew ya rabbal alamina amin salaatu ala nabi bismillahi rahman allahumma salli ala allahumma salli ala allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina wa nabiyina amin ya rabbi.
Thank you so much, Ya Imam. May the prayers be answered. And of course, we'll now call on Pastor Francis Forbes. He is going to be our guest of honor today. I'll give him a befitting introduction later on, but I'm pretty sure you all recognize his face, right? If you always watch GRTS back then, I'm sure you know who Pastor Forbes is. Pastor, you can lead us in a Christian way.
Let us pray. Precious Father, we are so tremendously grateful for this day. We're grateful for the grace you have apportioned to us for this ceremony. The scriptures tell us clearly that except you build, we walk and we labor in vain. Except you watch, we stay in wake in vain. And so we ask for your blessing on this ceremony. We ask for your presence, your guiding presence to be with us, most especially for the 152 fellows, that something passionate will be ignited in their hearts today that will cause them to run their race, fixing their eyes on the goal and the purpose for which you have blessed them over this 1 year. We ask that the ceremony will be peaceful, the ceremony will be memorable, and for those who are looking forward to joining this academy, this would have been the decider for them. So bless us this morning and bless all that we do. We pray in the name, in the power, and in the authority of Jesus Christ our Savior. Amen.
Thank you so much, Pastor. And just to also recognize the presence of the trainees under the Tough Training Institute, they have been trained on masonry apprenticeship here, and they're also here with us. Also, the Young Architects Affordable House Design Competition will be happening, and trainees under that program are also here. The aim is that these young architects will be the designers of the next tough affordable houses. So we'll also have a bit of that as well as we go into the program. So it's going to be a lot of interesting things, not going to be long, but it's going to be interesting, all the revelations we'll be having here today. But at this juncture, I would like to, of course, call on the visionary man, the man who's put his time, energy, and resources into making the Tough Africa Empire a model for Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, join me welcome on stage Mr. Mustafa Njai Tough, the president of the Tough Leadership Academy.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Fatu. I don't know what's going on. Your mic seems to be better than everybody else. Do you realize that? But I hope everybody can hear me. Is that okay? Okay, you can hear me. Oh, thank you so much. Let me first start by recognizing the Lord Mayor of KMC, seated, the UNDP Res Rep, and the other dignitaries on the high table. Ladies and gentlemen, today it's a auspicious day for us because we're going to graduate 152 fellows who went through a 1-year training program. I will not go into detail because Fatu has already told us what the Tough African leadership is all about. we've recognized that leadership is an issue in Africa, and we need to address them. So therefore, we thought our humble role, if we're seen to be successful as an entrepreneur and at the age that we are in, is to look back at these young ones, aged between 18 and 30, and start working on them. If we empower them, if we train them with the right skills, with the right values of leadership, I think we will probably change the narratives. So that's basically what it is. So I will not go further in why we are doing this. In the leadership program, what we've done is we've taken 12 key leadership values. And now we've come up with an acronym for it. So everybody can remember it. Not only the fellows, but even those of us of the elderly age, we can remember this. And it's called ICE, FADE, CHIP. ICE, FADE, FADE, and CHIP, CCHIP. So what it stands for is I for integrity, C for commitment, E for empathy, F for futuristic vision, A for accountability, D for decision making, E for empowerment, C for communication, C again for confidence, H for honesty, I for innovation, and P for passion. We think that, look, if anybody, has these 12 leadership values, you should be a good leader. But even if you take 50% of it, you should do well. So please, this is not only for the cohorts, for the fellows, but this is for anybody who's in a position of leadership. Please try to remember that these values, they would help. Let me also take this opportunity to recognize the lecturers, those who took their time to lecture these kids. What we did was we selected prominent Gambians, Gambians that have worked in their life and are recognized, highly respectable, to talk to these kids. So they will also serve as role models. And amongst them is Mohamed Jagana, who spoke on futuristic vision, Miss Aida Drame, who spoke on honesty, Madam Dey Aissatou Njai, who spoke on accountability, Madam Olidiba Wada spoke on empathy, Mr. Shola Mahoney spoke on good communication, Mr. Aki Allen spoke on decision making, Mrs. Lucy Fai spoke on confidence, Mrs. Awa Mary Khan spoke on empowerment, Mr. Malik Khan spoke on innovation, I spoke on passion, Mrs. Ami Bensouda spoke on integrity, and Mrs. Fatou Diagne Senghor spoke on commitment. That was for the first cohort. Then the second cohort, we had Dr. Karamo Sonko, who is the chairman of Tap Africa Global, spoke on the qualities of leadership. Then Mr. Lamin Manyang of Standard Chartered Bank spoke on honesty. Again, Ms. Olidiba Wada spoke again on empathy. Mr. Usainu Ngom spoke on decision making. Dr. Aissatou B. Job, who's the first secretary at the embassy in Turkey, spoke on integrity. Mrs. Aji Kumba Dafe spoke on innovation. Mrs. Fatou Sanyang Kinte, the Minister of Women's Affairs, spoke on empowerment. Mrs. Jama Jack spoke on good communication. Mrs. Musu Bakoto Sao spoke on commitment. Dr. Lamin Marena spoke on confidence. Again, Mr. Mohamed Jagana spoke on good communication. Mrs. Ndeye Aissatou Njai spoke on accountability. And then Dr. Basil Jones of the ADB spoke on passion. So we want to thank these Gambians who volunteered to give a lecture to these kids. We will definitely be knocking on your doors again because this is something continuous. And we will also be asking on other prominent Gambians to come on board, given their different disciplines. I don't want to speak much, but today also I would like to leave you with another acronym, which is REAL, R-E-A-L. Can we have, we have a circle, a chart on the one on the board, on the screen. Is it on? But I will read on, because it's my philosophy about life. And I would like to have this again delivered at this forum. Because the thing about making statements, repeating it, that every time you say it, there's somebody new who's never heard it. So now I've got it formalized. Instead of calling it the 4 quarters of life, it is called the 4 quadrants of life. Why is colored gray? Life can be seen from several perspectives. That's from my own perspective. Life can be segmented into 4 quadrants, and it's called REAL, R-E-A-L. R stands for resilience. E stands for experimentation or execution. A stands for actualization or assessment. And then L stands for legacy. Each quadrant represents a circle of life and its attendant characteristics, together with the value system that is or should be prominent in such quadrants. R, let's start with the first one. It says, this is the first quadrant of life which spans between the age of 0 and 20, when you are born to 20 years. The quadrant is referred to as reliance quadrant because at this stage of one's life, an individual is largely dependent on guidance, provision and protection by parents, guardians, and or other relatives. This is the stage where an individual grows from being a toddler through being a teenager and then exit teenage stage. Individuals in this stage are aided to discover themselves, define their uniqueness, identities, with a view of getting them ready for the next quadrant. This explains why this quadrant is marked gray. As expected, an individual in this would be largely dependent on the aforementioned relationships for survival. There must be deliberate efforts towards imbibing certain lifelong leadership values, including integrity, confidence, honesty, and excellent communication skills. These would flow into subsequent quadrants and aid the individual into becoming a better person. So that's for quadrant, the first quadrant. Then the second quadrant, which I said was experimentation or execution. This is the second quadrant of life, which spans between the ages of 21 and 40. This quadrant is referred to as experimentation or execution. Because at this stage of one's life, an individual begins to make attempts to have a slice of reality. Such individuals begins to clamor for independence and makes efforts at facing life headlong. This is the stage where individuals graduate from formal or informal education, start a business, or choose a career path, start a family, and generally start moving independently. At this stage, some setbacks are experienced and successes recorded, but individuals continue to strive further. This is why this stage is marked green. There is a lot of energy and appetite to venture into things and take on risk, both calculated and reckless risk. Generally, only a few individuals become successful at this stage. Others get closer to success, which would manifest in the third quadrant, while some others continue to hope for success. This stage is characterized by consistent work and attempts at success. However, it must be rooted in commitment, futuristic vision, bold decision-making, honesty, innovation, and passion. The third quadrant is actualization and assessment. This is the third quadrant of life, which spans ages 41 to 60. This quadrant is referred to as actualization or assessment because at this stage of one's life, an individual begins to take account of his or her life. This is the stage where either success is made or failure is recorded. An individual at this stage of life begins to consolidate on the previous two quadrants with a view to achieving a resounding success or avoid being seen as a failure. An individual might begin to slow down having recorded success in this quadrant or might be in a rush to achieve success before crossing to the next quadrant. This accounts for the yellow or the amber color of this quadrant. Without a doubt, there is usually an increased temptation to amass wealth in this quadrant. However, this is the quadrant where, aside from other values, certain values must be prominent. Accountability, honesty, innovation, and again, passion. A mistake in this quadrant might undermine the achievements in the previous quadrants and negatively affect the subsequent quadrant. Now, the final one is legacy, which is L. Now, legacy, this is the fourth quadrant of life, which spans between 61 and 80. And some of us are already in that quadrant. It is almost unlikely, usually individuals in this stage are said to be in the departure lounge. You know what it means, the departure lounge?
It's scary.
It's scary.
Yes.
But interestingly enough, some of us around here are in the departure lounge. It's a reality. It is almost unlikely to build new businesses, careers, or professions in this quadrant. In fact, this is the quadrant where individuals focus on their creator and legacy they intend to leave behind. So what is in this quadrant, that's what we do. We focus more and repent, on all the sins that we committed, and then try to leave a legacy, what we want to be remembered for. In fact, this is the quadrant where individuals focus to. This is a reflective quadrant where amassing wealth becomes or should be unimportant. And I want to repeat this. It is a quadrant where one should reflect, where amassing wealth becomes or should be unimportant. Instead, individuals are focused on what they could give back to society and how they could help solve societal problems or vices. The spirituality of individuals in this quadrant is usually heightened in view of the consciousness of departing the earth to be with one's creator. As a result, there is usually increased participation and involvement in spiritual activity. An individual remains in this quadrant until he or she is called by the creator to move. This is why the quadrant is marked red. This is the fatal stage of life because if not properly lived, an individual might not be remembered after departing the earth or might be remembered for unpleasant reasons. As such, empathy, empowerment of people, and passion to improve the society are the common values of individuals in this quadrant in order to leave a lasting legacy. And this is the simple reason why the Tough Africa Foundation and my humble self are involved in this, committing 1% of our turnover, of our global turnover, into the foundation. We fund our foundation. If partners reach out, we will not say no. But so far, everything that you have seen being done by the foundation over the past 4 or 5 years is totally being funded by the Tough Africa Global. Recently, we have partnered with ITC, I want to recognize them, to train 25 Masons. That's why they're here. We have 25 trainees, and we're in partnership with ITC. Then you are also, apart from the graduates, you are going to see, in the hall there are about 80-something young architects. I think they're here. And when Dr. Cole comes in, he will be introduced. There's a competition to design our next affordable housing scheme. So I will not go into detail. What we did was we appointed 3 competent Gambians by the names of Dr. Roddy Cole, who's heading it, and then Yafa Tugay, and then Mami Danso. So the 3 of them are the judges, and he will go into detail. So let me not bore you too much. It's not my day today. It's Pastor Forbes' day. Pastor is our guest speaker. So I guess I will leave then the podium to Fatu to invite the next speaker. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and congrats. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Maybe I forgot to mention in the beginning, before introducing him, that he's also a great speaker, so that you would be expecting that. But I believe all of you in this room here know exactly who Mr. Njai is, so there's no need for that. And one thing I like about him is that whenever he speaks, he leaves us with something. And today, I've been introduced, at least for myself, to a new concept, real. And I see that we like the last aspect, right? Legacy. But we're not okay with the departure concept, which is not even a concept. It is reality, right? I must confess that it is scary. But I think reaching there is achieving a milestone as well, and we should all thrive for that, right? R is resilience, E is execution, A is actualization, and the last one, L, is legacy. I hope today we can all go with that and ponder over those as well. So thank you so much again, once again, Mr. Njai, the president of the Tough Africa Foundation, for that wonderful speech. So he did mention briefly that we'll be looking at the Young Architects Affordable House Design Competition, and I mentioned that as well in the beginning briefly, and Dr. Roddy Cole will do us the honor of introducing what exactly this is going to be about. A round of applause for him, please.
Thank you very much, Fatu. Taf the philosopher. I'm sure you know Taf as a contractor. He started out as a contractor. You know him as an entrepreneur. But very few of you know him as a philosopher. Unfortunately, I know him very well as a philosopher. My office was in NTC in Banjul. Each time he came to Banjul, he would swing by my office and give me his latest theories about God, about the world, about development, all kinds of things. And poor me, I had to sit down there patiently listening to him. And here we are. He's actually walking the walk, not only talking the talk. Another comment, some of us are in quadrant 4, but we are still trying to amass. We were very careless in our younger days and we didn't amass. So quadrant 4, instead of being more holy, as he's saying, we are now trying to amass at this late stage. But I'm sure my god brother, Pastor Forbes, can intervene for me. Young architects, if you're in architecture to make money, I'm not sure you're in the right field. If you're passionate about it, yes, but if it's there to make money, maybe you need to change to engineering or something like that. I speak on behalf of my two fellow panelists, as Fatu has said. Mami Danso, who's a young architect, studied in England and has just come back and is practicing. And then Fatu Gay. Fatu is not an architect. She's actually a civil and a mechanical engineer, a very rare combination. But we thought to broaden the scope for evaluation, we should bring a non-architect in so that we architects don't sit down day after day fighting about concepts and this sort of thing. Fatu brings in the more environmental factor, the appropriate technology, building materials, construction technologies, and that sort of thing. So a little bit about the competition. For one thing, there's no criteria set for participation. We didn't feel any particular group has a monopoly on creativity or passion, so it's open to everybody that's interested: architects, architectural technicians, artists, planners. Anybody that wishes to participate is invited to participate. The design brief, the brief for the design is actually coming from the TAF organization. As I think as Fatu has said, it's a live project. We know him to be the largest real estate developer in the Gambia. He has told us so himself. And obviously he has many, many estates that are currently being developed and may be developed in future. So this is a good way we feel to tap into the current concepts and ideas that are out there, especially by the younger people. In terms of urban design and home design, nobody could have failed to notice that things have been changing over the past 30 years. The kind of aesthetic you see now is very different from what it used to be. For one thing, very few people have compounds that are 50 by 50 meters with large villas. Building materials are more expensive, land is more expensive, so the tendency now is for much smaller plots and much smaller structures. So that's why it's called the affordable house design. The young architects will be called upon to put together a package that combines aesthetics, building functionality, environmental aspects, thermal design, all of these things, of course, building economics, the cost. So all of these things is what will be evaluated in order to come out with a winner. I believe the 10 entries will be shortlisted, and each of them will receive some compensation. But the focus really would be on the first three. They will have some monetary compensation. In addition, they'll have other prizes. The intention here is to help them along the way. If they're just setting out, they need printers, computers, and that sort of thing. The intention would be to give them gifts, these prizes that would help them along that process and help them establish properly. There's another important benefit in the sense that the winning submission may be called upon to develop technical documentation for actual construction on site. Going back to when I was a young architect about 200 years ago, it's easy to come up with concepts. You're used to that. You go to school and you learn that. But to make the transition from concept to technical documentation, what the contractor actually takes to the site to build, is a very difficult process. You have to have some understanding of structures, especially if it's a story building. You have to have some understanding of building services. These are very complicated these days. Not only do we have NAWEC, some of us have solar, some of us have inverters, and there's generators, etc. So the services aspect of building is becoming more and more complicated over time. So you have to have some understanding of that as well. And then there's other aspects, landscaping, site design, and all of these things. So what the plan is, once we have a winning submission, they can work with us, maybe, a GAP, to look at the architectural coordination, etc. We intend to nominate some prominent professionals. Omar Kamara of Master Plan is one such person. He might be willing to help you develop your structural drawings. And we're thinking maybe an electrical engineer like Charles Pottin might be available so that you can develop your understanding of building services. So at the end of the process, you have in most cases, when you have a client, an individual client in Banjul, in Gambia, it's mainly for scheme designs. But if you want to make the transition to work for GAMWORKS, they not only require schemes, you have to do detailed working drawings. So we hope that the winning submission might be rewarded by being assisted along this process so they can transition from individual clients, houses, etc., to working for an institution like GAMWORKS, whose requirements are a lot more rigorous. In terms of the submission, the young architects, it's up to you to use whatever tools you feel best expresses your concept. There's the basic requirements, sections, plans, etc. And these days, increasingly, the software that we use allows us to do 3D drawings. So these would be the basic requirements. But like I said, it's up to you to use whatever tool you feel you have to express the ideas you're trying to communicate. Anything else I've missed? Yeah, Fatu, are you sure? Let me end by congratulating the young people that are going to be graduating this year from the TAF Leadership Academy. I think we have members of TAF leadership. We also have Masons. We have young architects. TAF is very committed, it seems, to helping young people that are committed, that are focused, helping them along the way to success, especially with regard to nurturing future leaders of this country. And my fervent wish is that you young leaders of the future are able to do better than we did, than my generation did. That you, like most of us did, you do not stand aside and not be interested and not participate, but you actually are able to get your feet wet and participate in building the future of this country. And again, I want to thank TAF for his energy, his resources, his time to fulfilling this very, very important role. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much once again, Dr. Cole, for that very comprehensive explanation. I take it that we all understand now the purpose of the Young Architects Affordable House Design competition. I'm pretty sure that young people are very eager to achieve that feat because the enthusiasm is indeed evident, right? Young people of this generation are not sitting back and not waiting for anything. We're ready to take it on board and face it as it comes. So therefore, we're very much excited for all the opportunities that will be coming forth. And at this juncture now, we'll also like to recognize our special guest here, the Mayor, Talib Bensouda. Thank you so much for honoring the invitation, and all those very familiar faces we see on that very high table. But also, we do have our guest of honor. And at this point, I'd like to give you the official brief bio of who this guest of honor is. Pastor Francis Forbes, 56, is a Gambian, born to Gambian parents. From his early years, Francis Forbes has been a high achiever with a strong desire to put his country on the map. At the young age of 14, he won the World Piano Prize, Grade 3 Piano Forte, 1979 in Cardiff, Wales, which was a source of great pride for many Gambians at the time. Francis Forbes attained his primary and secondary school leaving certificates in the Gambia and proceeded to pursue his university education in Nigeria, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, UNN, graduating with a BSc honors in biochemistry. Now, sensing the call of God upon his return, he founded and started the Abiding Word Ministries, Gambia, on Sunday, November 5th, 1988. And has been consistent to his call and mission. He had prior become born again in August of 1979 in his native country. For the past 3 decades, he has successfully built his ministry with integrity and excellence, strengthening members to discover and utilize their God-given potential. Many church members who have since moved on to different countries continue to give testimony to the impact of this phenomenal ministry in building them into the people that they are now. Through his nationally popular and well-received weekly GRTS telecast, Discovering Truth, you all know that, right? Pastor Forbes has been able to reach people throughout the nation across socio-political lines for over 2 decades with messages on empowerment, national development, love for God and country that have resonated deeply with many. As a result, the name Pastor Forbes is now a household name, earning him the enviable title, the nation's pastor. Discovering Truth has helped a lot of individuals and the nation as a whole to glean and implement the wise counsel he has so eloquently given on a weekly basis over the past 22 years. Pastor Forbes' ability to consistently reach out with a message of hope to people across socio-political and religious lines has always placed him in unique positions to serve as an effective facilitator and mediator in many training as well as intermediary settings. Pastor Forbes is a widely read and objective minister whose integrity and sense of focus have been tested over time and proven untainted. A busy man, he travels regularly to fill international pulpit preaching, teaching, and worshiping music ministry engagements and assignments. Coaching, mentoring, advising, public speaking, counseling are some of the other areas he fulfills God's calling upon his life with infectious passion, simplicity and practicality, and great depth of insight, competence, and 3 decades of ministry experience. Pastor Forbes has also recently registered and started the Forbes Academy, a public speaking training and mentoring institute for all aspiring public speakers, young and adult, and the transformative results are being widely acknowledged. Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Forbes was decorated in April 2008 by the Gambian presidency with the national insignia of Member of the Order of the Republic of the Gambia, MRG, for his spiritual, religious, educational, and evangelical efforts. He is married to Angela, a human rights lawyer and international consultant with whom he shares his ministry. Your guest of honor, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Pastor Forbes. For today, yes. Pastor Forbes, you have it.
Thank you, Fatu. And good afternoon, everybody. And greetings to you all. And I want to stand on existing protocol courtesies as have been already granted to all the dignitaries. But more especially recognizing Mr. Mustafa Njai Taf, my friend and my big brother, his wife, Auntie Jatu, the family, and everybody who works around TAF, local and global. I must say that a few days ago I wondered because, like you, I saw this video clip about something going to happen, and I wasn't sure what it was. And on the 1st of June in the morning, I saw my friend speaking about the TAF towers. And Twin Towers? Tough twins. It didn't take me minutes to look through the Google map, and I saw that it was not far from our church. And I said to myself, well, he's come to add value and decorate our presidential highway, but he needs to come and talk to me, and I'm the alcalo of that place. And just to keep it clear, if you need any attestation, I'll sign for you. I want to say congratulations to the 152 fellows graduating today, because it's because of you that we are here. It's your day, so congrats, and no doubt you're ready to fly. You, like your predecessors before you, have been tailor-trained in 12 thematic areas, as have been told you, you know, the ice, fade, and chip being CCHIP. And that is your roadmap. That's your toolbox containing your toolkits. These 12 areas of valuable and foundational attitudes and dispositions in business and functionally productive life endeavors are value added in every way. And they give you the tools for becoming influencers and change agents to your peers and to all of us in society. And so it makes us particularly encouraged, and I hope and believe more so for our country, especially at this time, because what we see here is one practical and lasting way to curb youth unemployment and its attendant worrisome societal and ultimately national malaise. The proper training of our youth in skill development and empowerment helps curb vices that emanate from and probably are induced by boredom and lack. And the training therefore enhances our internal peace, tranquility, and the Gambian sense of security, that which we have always cherished and been known for as a people, as a country, and that which we trust will save us from a possible spiral down into a societal self-destruct. So this training is commendable, and except my eyes don't serve me well, I probably personally would have wished more of the executive to be seated here. My role this morning to you, the 152, is to encourage you, challenge you, and fire you up to excel. So I speak primarily to you. Also, I carry in my heart the alumni, the staff, the prospective new intake cohort, and everyone else, including and especially those of our international online guests, participants, and the audience who we can't see, but we know are watching, are listening, and are participating. Help me to welcome them, please. So the year is 2071. You are now in your 70s, quadrant 4. You are taking stock and you are looking back at your life proudly or wishing ... because posterity is now speaking loudly to you about opportunities, open doors, chances that came your way in the prime of your life that you utilized well, or unfortunately missed out repeatedly. How do you avoid this from happening to you almost in a generational cycle? How do you avoid saying, if I had known, I could have, I should have, I would have. If I have time, I'll turn the clock backwards. Because, ladies and gentlemen, opportunities knock on the doors and the minds, the lives, and the decision-making processes of each one of us every day. And only those who open those doors and windows and grab the opportunities never regret. Because the quickest path to a life of regrets, drudgery, and bitterness, maybe even poverty and stagnation, is procrastination. I will do it tomorrow. I will start next week, next month. I can't do it because of the pandemic, Ebola, Thomas Cook, the rainy season, the upcoming elections, and on and on and on. You know, if you are 40 years today and you do nothing in the next 12 years, you will still be 52. Tomorrow never comes. At best, today is yesterday's tomorrow. And tomorrow, today will be the yesterday we talked about now. So it never comes. In my growing up days as a young Gambian boy, as my memory serves me, almost everyone at the top of any organization, institution, or enterprise here in the Gambia, and possibly around the world, whether in civil service or in the private sector, was always in their late 50s or early 60s. It kind of gave us the impression that your best only showed up when you were 60. Not very encouraging for you. But that has radically changed over the last 2 decades, globally. Or maybe I should qualify it, except in one particular continental political sphere, where the people are holding on strong and not wanting to relinquish power. But here we are. Globally, it is changing. And with the 152 of you, we can see average age or range 18 to 30. We've seen indigenous startups, ingenious startups. You go to the trade fair, you see things that warm your heart because Gambian young people are rising up. Last year, I was privileged to be one of 7 judges at the Heroes Award by the Fatu Network. And when we were going through all the nominations and shortlisting, there were 1,538 entries. It took us from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning. And all of those ones qualified. You know, you have a problem when a university wants to accept you when you only have A grades. But they only have space for 10, and there are 47 A's. Then A becomes different because there are A's which are A's that escaped B+, and there are A's which are A's because they're A's. But it was such a joy. 1,538 entries, sir, of Gambian young people doing things by themselves. And let me borrow from Mr. Njai, doing things by themselves, sponsoring themselves, and not always stretching their hands for help. But it is one thing to start. Fellows, it is another thing to fan the flames of your startup and to find the wisdom to navigate the turns, the curves, and especially the unknown and uncharted transitions. See, everybody can drive a car straight. It's when you need to turn that you need training. And as your businesses grow, you will transition. Just over 2 weeks ago, I did a training for managers from one of our local banks in public speaking and presentation. And I was asking them, how do you handle it when somebody comes and wants a loan and takes a loan and ticks all the marks in the box, but he goes to marry a second wife? And when he cannot pay, I was asking them, do you repossess the wife and sell her to recover your money? Because transitions will come. New cars, business class, living in Bruford Heights. How do you manage these transition turns so that at the end of the day, in 2071, you are looking back and not covering your head in shame? And not just for us here, but for those of us online as well. Here are my few suggestions to you. Number 1, I believe you must understand, recognize, and make good use of time and opportunity. T&O, time and opportunity. A wise man said, and I read, in my old age, I looked at life and I considered everything under the sun. And I concluded, the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor even bread to wise people. And riches and wealth are not given because you have understanding, nor favor because you are skillful. I know people who are talented and severely broke. So it's not because you are skillful that makes you wealthy. And finally, he said, I realized that the difference, the decider, is how they use time and opportunity. The wise man goes on to say, I went by the field of a lazy person, and by the vineyard of a person devoid of understanding. And there it was, all overgrown with thorns. Its surface was covered with nettles. Its stone wall was broken. When I saw it, I considered it very well. I looked on it, and I received instruction and counsel for my own life. And I concluded, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands, and poverty will come to you. Time and opportunity have been given to us all. And for you that we celebrate today, years of toil, of academic achievement, of financial ability have been squeezed in 1 year and poured into your lives free of charge. Even data, megabytes, were given to you to follow the lectures online. What will you do with time? Because we all have it in equal amount. Every 60 seconds is a minute. Every 60 minutes is an hour. Any 24 of those hours is a day. And every 168 hours is a week. Even a year. Every year we have an extra 1/4 of a day, 6 hours, given to you. And together they make up our days, our nights, and our seasons. So there is no excuse to say you don't have time. We all have time. It's how we utilize time. We all have opportunity. In this hall here today, there is massive opportunity. Around these grounds, there is opportunity. Years ago, we called it the Monkey Park. Today, it's called an international conference center. Opportunity. Its grounds can be taken care of better than it looks. Opportunity. Because opportunity is like a man with a lot of hair, afro hair, in front of him. And he's coming by you and you love his hair and you feel you're going to take a piece of his hair, but you procrastinate. And when he passes by you, you look at the back of his head and it looks like my own. There is no hair. So you cannot grab opportunity from the back. There is nothing. It's gone. But we all have it. Across our border, just over a week ago, there was a YouTube video that I saw of a gentleman taking oil drum barrels, empty oil drum barrels, 55-gallon oil drum barrels, taking his tools and transforming them into restaurant chairs, sitting room furniture, bedroom furniture, empty barrels, barigo. And suddenly their value has gone up. Yet I also know in my country that there are people who are multi-talented but disorganized. So opportunity passes them by over and over. And because nature abhors a vacuum, other people jump into that opportunity space, and even if it's passive income, it becomes something for them, adding value to their multiple streams for their life. And they get to quadrant 4, and they do not have the kinds of concerns that Dr. Cole talked about. I know people, recently somebody was being challenged to activate their passion and their ability with respect to a 4.5-minute speech given by somebody. And what this person didn't know was that I had set aside $100, not much, but good enough, to just help the person. And the assignment was before Ramadan. We finished Ramadan, finished Korite, we are now registering to vote. 4.5 minutes, nothing was done. And people say we don't have opportunity. We don't have opportunity. Opportunity comes to us all the time. Take hold of opportunity. Make good use of time. There are two Greek words for time. One almost every person here knows. It's chronos, C-H-R-O-N-O-S, from where we have chronometer or chronology. It's repeated, predictable time. So if I stand here 24 hours later, I will still be found here at 12:14 p.m., except it will be another day. And sometimes the problem with that is because it is expected, it is preempted, you are not passionate for it. But inside that chronological time, there is another Greek word called kairos, K-A-I-R-O-S. Kairos is an opportunity that just comes. It's a window that just came. You met somebody, they're on their way to the airport, and they give you their business card, get in touch with me, and you go home, but you want to watch Manchester United. Shows you where your priorities are. I believe if you use this 12 theme areas, each one of you, and like Mr. Njai said, even if you use one, integrity, it can open doors for you that money cannot buy. Just integrity. If you use passion, a lot of the things you see about Mr. Njai is his passion. Somebody who dared to believe against all odds that it is possible. He can change the landscape, add value to the nation. Passion. If you take that passion and make it infectious, it will help you. What about honesty? You will never be called before a commission of inquiry. Number two, not only must you know time and opportunity, I want you to have a transformer's mindset. Think out of the box. Break the box. Create new paradigms. Create new atmospheres. The good book says, as a person thinks in their heart, so they are. There are people you can tell 10 things about life, and they'll give you 45 reasons why it will never work. It's just that's just them. That's just them. And while they're giving you the 45, 80 people are doing exactly what they told you was not possible. And I don't know whether this is an English word, but you must be helpable for us to help you. Have that mindset that you can do something. You can change something. Even if you made a mistake in your business, start again. One of the joys of having mentors and the honorable people that lectured you is not because people have no problems in life. But I would not want somebody who never failed, never had a problem, was never betrayed, was never maligned to come and mentor me in life because, I don't feel you. But the people who taught you have sat where you are sitting now. And therefore, they're able to empathize with you and tell you that we were once here, but we rose above where we are, so you can also do the same thing. Never be a quitter, because quitters never win. And never say never. I'll tell you one of 3 stories, and this is the first one. If you notice sometimes in the 400-meter race, let's say men, and there are 8 nationalities. The Gambia, let's say Nigeria, Jamaica, Kenya, Great Britain. And so they start. The gun is shot and they go. And by the time they are getting to the last turn, the Gambian is ahead, or the Nigerian. I know those of you online will be screaming Nigeria. All right. So the Nigerian is ahead. And then the Jamaican is number 2. And the American is number 3. And the Kenyan is number 4. And you, the Kumba Banjul, Samba Banjul, you are number 5. And you know how it is when they're coming to the finishing line, everybody is screaming and shouting. But you know that there are only 3 medals: gold, silver, and bronze. So you that is number 5, you are pressing in to beat the guy who is number 4 from Kenya. And he lets you overtake him because he's saying to you, where are you going to? There are only 3 medals here. And so the winners are declared. Online, you wanted the Nigerians to be first. So Nigeria number 1, Jamaica number 2, Britain number 3, and you Gambian that beat the Kenyan, you are number 4. But nothing. So they give them a bouquet, they give them their medals. The green, white, green flag is hoisted, the national anthem is played. 5 days later, they come out and tell you that power-enhancing drugs were discovered in the urine sample of the number 1. I won't mention the nation. And once that happens, that person is disqualified from their position and their medal is taken from them. So number 2 now wears the gold. Number 3 wears the silver. And the Kenyan is holding his head saying, Bumayegon, if I had known, I would have just pressed him, because number 4 now becomes number 3, who is the Gambian. What I'm saying is that it's never over until it's over. Failure is not a person. Failure is an event. As a matter of fact, failure is part of the success process. Number 3, dare to be different. If anything gripped my heart when I graduated and came back in 1988, was that I knew I was different. And I'm still different. Dare to be different. The day I was privileged to be working with TAF on the property Reef TAF in River State, I talk about it because it was so funny. He was on the right, I was on the left, and between us were 2 armed Nigerian policemen. And I looked at him, I thought, isn't this interesting? 2 Gambians are being protected by 2 Nigerian policemen. But at that time, his country had thrown him out. And if you've ever been there and you see that land, it's marshy, it's muddy, it's something where all right-thinking people do not build a structure. Because consensus orthodoxy tells you it's impossible. But if you dare to be different, carpenters, masons, if you dare to be different, what happens is that you open a new paradigm. And yes, you become the guinea pig for everybody, because they now believe, tough def narco, it can be done. Pastor Forbes has done it, it can be done. But you have to dare. You have to dare. That's the word. You have to dare to be different. Ladies, you have to dare to be different. Don't wait to be married by somebody. Dare to be different first. We are being told of 1 million homes across Africa in the next 20 years. You know what that means? It means 50,000 homes every year. When people tell you that, you know, you build in your mind's eye their structure. You expect them to be as big as Shaquille O'Neal. And then when you meet him, you know he's nowhere near Shaquille O'Neal. I remember many, many years ago in the former republic, I had a meeting and I went to the office of the president. I was actually meeting with the former president then. And all the soldiers were, Pastor Forbes, discovering the truth. Yeah, Pastor Forbes. And there was this cleaner lady. I'm sure she thought I am not Gambian. I don't speak Wolof. And she just said, Hai ndeke kinilagate. For those of you who don't understand, said, is this how short he is? Because behind the TV screen, you look so big. Fatu, you are not the only one. She was shocked. So the depth of your vision is not in your height. It is the intensity of what is biting you to be a change agent for your country and for him, for our continent, and for the world. Listening to him on Tuesday, being interviewed by Peter Gomez on Coffee Time, sir, I heard you say you always look for challenges and you conquer them and turn them into opportunities. That's what you should do. That's what we should all do. But remember, his story is not without a challenge. And your story will not be without challenge. Nobody's story here, no matter how we airbrush them, we all have challenges because the challenges push you. You know, ladies and gentlemen, your friends will never take you to your next level. Are you ready for this? Your enemies take you to your next level. They tell you who you are not, and they make something rise up in you that make you tell yourself, I can do it, I will do it, if not for anything else, to prove to him, her, them, and myself that it can be done. So be happy less with your friends and look for more. We celebrate Taff. I celebrate him personally. We celebrate him sub-regionally, continentally, globally. And yet when you see him, you see a humble man, approachable, somebody never hiding secrets, always lifting up his own kith and kin, a true Pan-Africanist in every sense of the word. Congratulations, sir. Let me ask you, especially those of you online from Nigeria, and in this hall, how many non-Nigerian African names do you know of in Nigeria? Nigeria is big. 200 million people. So for you to edge your way through those big names and shoot up and touch the top magazines, there must be something about you. Because Nigeria is huge. And that's why I take issue when I read about indices that don't make sense to me. One of them is that the percentage unemployment in Nigeria is 8%. 8% unemployed, gari-eating Nigerians? No way. 8% of Nigeria is 16 million. And truth be told is the day you find an unemployed Nigerian, come and show me. They are selling water, they are even negotiating from their mother's womb. Very proactive. And so must we be. Number 4, second to last. Or let me make it my last. Please learn to collaborate. When you look at people you admire, try and look for some things that are key in their lives. With Taff, apart from his generosity, his simplicity, his largesse, is how he truly exemplifies the things we talk about in conferences about being Africa, one passport and all that. He exemplifies it so naturally in his life, in the people he deals with, and his employment. I'm going to leave you with 2 examples that I pray will never, ever leave your heart. For those of you, the 152 fellows, and for the rest of us. Number 1, many of us, probably everybody here, has played this game, musical chairs, before. You know musical chairs? Maybe you have like 10 contestants and 9 chairs. The chairs face in opposite directions, and the aim is for one person to win, and at every turn and round, one chair is removed. And so you have this 10, maybe kids, and the music is being played and played and played, and the music stops, and they all sit down, and one child misses a chair. More often than not, the child goes crying, and the mom will say, don't worry, it's not about winning, it's about participating. That's the lie you told your children, or the truth. And you do that, and you keep removing one chair until 2 contestants are left and 1 chair. And hopefully, if the DJ has no interest in the 2 people, he will close his eyes and stop the music, and the winner sits on a chair. Now, that is what we all learned. It's the capitalist, colonial, musical chair we were given. There is another form in a Southeastern Asian country I would not want to name. In their own type, you still have 10 contestants, 9 chairs, and then they are told, when the music stops, The child that cannot sit on a chair disqualifies you all. So when the music stops, 9 children are sitting, and one child tells the other child, come and sit by my chair. Collaboration. So they take away one chair. There are 8 chairs and 10 participants, contestants. And the music plays and stops, and 8 sit, and of course 2 are standing, and they are called, come and talk. Randall Mama talk. The Nigerians will say shift, dress. I go 7, 6, 5, until there is 1 chair left. And how many contestants? 10. How they do it, I do not know. In Wolof, we have a word called langamu. There is a way you have to adjust. But the import here is that if I am going to succeed, then everybody else in my team must succeed. It's a win-win mentality. And if I should tell you the name of that country, you'll say, no wonder they are successful in every possible matrix that you know of. Thank you. My wife, somebody just said Japan. Thank you. That is it. It's a win-win. But let me leave you with my final example. How many of you know who the world record holder for the 100 meters men's sprint is? Usain Bolt. What is his timing? 9.58 seconds. So that means anybody who does 9.57999 will beat him. Nobody has broken that record since 2009. 9.58 seconds. The world record hold for the 4x100 men's relay is held by which team? The Jamaican team. Carter and other people, including Bolt himself. Now, do you know what their score is? Their timing is 36.84 seconds. Pick out your calculator and do the math. 4 men, including Usain Bolt, who clocked 9.58 and holds the world title. 4 men have run in 36.84 seconds. If you do the math, you come out to 9.21. 37 seconds faster than Usain Bolt's world record. So even in his team, he ran faster than when he ran alone. Need I tell you, this is not rocket science, that the speed, the average speed of a team that is together, that is bound together, that understands collaboration, that understands that I don't have to be Mandinka, Aku, Zimbabwean, I don't have to come from Senegal, but if we say we are African, and if we say we are Gambian, and hold one passport together, if we collaborate and work together, we will win, and our speed will be faster than the fastest individual runner in the Gambia. Let me leave you with that, fellows. Run together. Leave these premises with that in your mind. Run together. Make TAF proud. Make TAFLA proud. Make TAF Africa Global proud. And make this our sweet smiling coast proud. And make your families proud, because you understand that none of us is as good as all of us put together. And let's trample tribalism, trample all these things on foot, work together as one people under one God, and bring the levels of prosperity and success that we have never seen. 37 seconds, if only he knew. 9.21 as opposed to 9.58. You can do better when you do it together. I wish you well. I pray God blesses you all. I pray that you prosper in everything that you do. And in your prosperity, please remember TAF. And don't forget me. Good afternoon.
Whoa. Wow. Wow. That was terrific. Indeed. Wait, did you at any point feel your heart beat fast? Like, it's oozing out, blood. Whoa. I don't even know where to start because that was terrific. And if you did resonate with that, say yes, please. Yes. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. You guys, this man here was decorated with the national insignia of Member of the Order of the Republic of the Gambia, MRG. Has anyone else in this room attained that feat yet? That is exceptional and very rare for anyone, anybody in any country to attain. A round of applause for him once again. Quite a lot of things he said, and that felt like a leadership or an academy of a one-year academy summarized in about 20 or 30 minutes. And I would say it's a whole lot that we're taking out from that today. And we're going to go home today reformed, as reformed leaders, because everything else we're hearing here is adding up to everything we've learned for the past 12 months. As human beings, I think somehow it's in our nature to blame situations or other things for our failures, right? I engage with officials and they say, oh, that project could not happen because the COVID-19 pandemic. Everything else was on the COVID-19 pandemic. And when will we stop blaming situations for our failures? And for me, I think what he said about time and opportunity is something that we should all ponder over, right? As young people, we are oftentimes faced with opportunities, but maximizing these opportunities is where the problem comes in. And then we sit back and say, oh, but it was not this, so I could not. It was too this for my this. Try. When I get projects sometimes, I don't meet all the criteria, but I try and learn in the process, do research about those things, and eventually I am able to deliver my deliverables. But how many other people, how many of us are thinking in that dimension? The last time I did my report and I saved it in the computer, sent the preamble to the editor, everything else was written. I had witnesses there who all will attest to the fact that that product was ready to be aired the following day. In the evening, the editor on duty called me and said, we can't find the report. Everything else was deleted in the computer. The sequence, in fact, was deleted. I almost cried. I was on another event and I had to rush to the office. It was my off day. I came, I said, no, it's there. We checked in the recycle bin. In fact, that bin was empty. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I almost cried, but I laughed. So I told Senghor, I said, the report is gone. He said, how? I said, I do not know. On a normal circumstance, someone would say, oh, I did the report. If it was deleted, then it's their problem because I did what I was supposed to do. But the next day I came back to work. It was Monday. I came back to work, did everything that I was supposed to do, and sat on that desk again, took that raw material and did my report again. And it was aired twice during that week. I mean, for me, I think when there is no challenge, I am unmotivated. When I look at my boss and say, these days I am unmotivated, he knows I mean that I am not doing anything different and I'm not going beyond my comfort zone. And for me, that is what I want to do every single day. The challenge is so that I can be more. So I hope today we can all go home with that urge that we're not going to sit back and let the challenges define our future for us. On that note, we're getting to the bottom of it all, because now we are going to have the awarding of certificates to the TAFLA fellows, all of you here who are graduating today. Mr. Mustafa Njai, again, will be doing the honor of that, together with his invited guests. Let's welcome him again, once again.
Thank you very much, Fatu. Great job. Thank you. We appreciate you. We'll do this very fast because we have 152 fellows who are going to graduate. So can I have the honor of calling on the Lord Mayor of KMC, Mr. Talib Bensouda. So we'll do it in tens.
Please say on the mic that we're not shaking hands.
Yeah, remember, please, we're not shaking hands. We're still within the Corona period. So what do? You just collect your certificate and please move fast. So, Lord Mayor, if you can please do us the honor of handing out the certificates to these 10. I'll call 10 that just follow up. One is Abdullah Jase, Abibatu Sise, Abubakar Samura, Adama Badara Juf, Adama MCC, Adama Ndau, Ahmed MCC, Aji Kura Greer, Aji Ndumbe Job, and Aji Fatu Sen. Thank you, Lord Mayor. And I know that you wanted to leave, so he will also take leave of us. If you wish, you will wait. Okay, all right, okay, thank you. And then can I have Madam Aissata Day, the UNDP rep, to hand out these certificates, please. So let's have Antuman Jan, Arafangdu, sorry, it's Alaji Kijera, Alaji Aliuka, Alaji Sise, Aliu Damfa, Amadou Sise, Ami Choi, Ami Ture, Amina AK Fai, Aminata AT Sonko, and Anna S. Ndur. Thank you so much. Thank you, madam. Can we, Pastor, you are standing. Can you do us the honor of handing out these certificates? And you'll be handing out to Antuman Jan, Arafangdur, Asanjai, Awaan, Babukar Ba, Babukar Koma, Babukar Sala, Bakari Dem, Bakari Estamba, and Bana Sabali. Thank you, Pastor. Can we have Imam Babali to do the next, to hand out the next certificates, please? And we have in the list Basiru J, Binta Jaju, Bintu Kamara, Buba Y. Jane, Babukar Silla, Chukimeka John Amadikwa, Dauda Jallo, Doreen Umo, Ibrahima Eture, and Ibrahima Dabo.
The next set, you will stop at 41. Sorry, 51.
Yeah,
Because 41.
I've done it, yeah.
Go ahead. After we sort it out.
Sort it out, yeah. Thank you very much, Imam. Can we have Mr. Mohammed Jagana, please, to do us the favor of handing out these? And we have amongst these Mr. Ibrahima Jallo, Ibrahima Kebe, Ibrahima Mane, Ibrahima Sabali, Ibrahima Sanyang again, Ibrahima Sonko, and then Emmanuela Ekwewele. Sorry, okay, not the last one. Go on, yeah. Fatima Bundu and Fatima Maloshi. That's your sister, huh?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed Jagana. Can we have then my sister there, Aisa Tunjai, to do us the honor of handing out these certificates? And they will go to Fatu Bojang again, Fatu Conte, Fatu Juve, Fatu Mseka, Fatu Sanyang, Fatu Suno, Fatu Mata J. Jallo, Fatoumata Kinte, and Fatoumata Sidibe. Yes, all the Fatus, huh? Thank you very much. Can Dr. Cole please do us the favor of handing out these? And whilst Dr. Cole is coming, he did mention what I did with him going into NTC, you know, ranting out. He's quite right. You know, I mean, Dr. Cole was the one that would always listen to me. I will gush out. You know, when I'm frustrated, I'm in Banjul, I go to his office. He's quite right. And I'm grateful that I have a friend like him because we come from a very long way. As he's my younger brother, though. I'm older than him. I'm older than him. You know, yeah. So, but he's very good. He's a very good listener. So he would listen, and then by the time I leave, I tell him, well, I had to rant it somewhere, and he would listen. At times, nothing to do with him, but thanks for listening to me. No thank you, Doctor. And so let's get Fode Kanyi, Fode Sanyang, Francis Correa, Hadi Sise, Hadi Kebe, Hana Bari, Hule Jallo, Aissatou Balde, Aissatou H.E. Tamba, and Aissatou Jaite. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much. Can we have the Madam Yafatu Gay to do us the honor of handing out these? And before Yafatu comes in, let me tell you about Yafatu. She's going to walk in. I will embarrass you a bit, Yafatu. Yafatu used to work for us about 20 years ago. And that's her composure, always the size, but dressed like this. But guess what? If you go to Bulford Gardens, you'll find a huge tank there. 16 meters, and Yafatu will be dressed like this and will going up the steps that high. So one, gor bahna, jigen bahna, and you know, whatever a man can do, a woman can do. So we're proud of Yafatu. Now she's on her own. So let's have Aissatou Jaite, Aissatou Jallo, Jainaba Sise, Jainaba Jame, Jariatou Balde, Jara Cham, Jere Eldabo, Jim Job, Kadi Kanaji, Karamba Sanyang. Thank you very much, Yafatu. Yeah, let's then have Mommy Danso to hand out these certificates. Now, Mommy will hand out the certificates for Mam Laiti Jeng. No, sorry. Kombe Bojang, Kumba Sonko, Lamin A. Sise, Lamin An, Lamin B. Bara, Lamin F. Fati, Lamin Sambu, Maimuna Sise, Maimuna Penda Job, Malik Ndimbalan.
Musa.
Thank you, Mami. Thank you so much. Now, can we have Raymond? And Raymond, whilst you are coming, let me just give you what happened here. Let me share this gist with you guys. And I just heard this from my, what's the name again? I'm getting old. At times I forget my staff's name. Abyss. You know, Abyss is very shy, but, you know, she's got a big brain power. Abyss is the coordinator. Is the coordinator of the foundation. Actually, she's employed from the first cohort. So you see, when you do well, you know, Fat Jang was in the first cohort, and we employed her. So when she went to England to do her master's, then we employed Abyss. But what I tell them is that always talk to my uncle. You know who my uncle is? Who knows my uncle? Anything that you want to find? Well, listen, you know my uncle? Who's my uncle? Google. Uncle Google. So that's why I tell my staff. So if you come to our office now talking big, and you know, I'm here to buy 30 houses, I'm going to do this. Whilst you are giving your card, your name, they're going like this to see who you are. And I tell you what she's just done. We don't know Raymond's surname. So I asked her, what's Raymond's surname? And then I heard her saying, Google ko. So Raymond Musa, huh? So, Raymond Musa, yeah. So Raymond, let's have Mam Laiti Jeng, Mama Jang Jalo, Mami Seidi Khan, Margaret Jane Silva, Maria Madabo, Maria Masawane, Maria Masou, Maria Tussar, Marie Louise N. Sanyang, and Marie M. Mane. After Mom said there's
Dr. Keba Marina.
Oh, Dr. Keba, okay. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you. Can we have Alaji Mamsed Njai to do us the honor of giving out the next 10 certificates? And they will go to Mariam Jara, Masire Njai, Modu Lamin Jame, Modu Lamin Jajusi, Modu M. Njai, Momodu Ba, Momodu Habib Ba, Mohamed Conte, Mohamed Sise, and Mohamed Jeng. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Imam Said. Can we have Dr. Keba Marina, please, to hand out these certificates? And they will go to Mohammed Kurbali, Mohammed El Fati, please. Mohammed El Fati, Mohammed Kurbali, Mohammed El Fati, Mohammed Kurbali, Mohammed El Fati, 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 Moham Nafatu Trawale, Nasiru Sohna, Ndey Sanungom, Omar Jagne, Omar Jata, Omar Njai, Ousseynou J. Sawane, Ousmane Cissé. Thank you very much. Thank you, Doctor. Can we have Mr. Sola Mahoney to give out these certificates, next 10 certificates? And that goes to Usman Jaite, Usman Jaune, Pa Omar Bojang, Seydou A.A. Ba, Seynabou Jammeh, Seynabou Jagne, Saliou Tine, Salifou M. Ba, Sali Dieng, and Salman Koli.
Chemo, you have Dr. Jase.
Who are they?
Chemo is a youth council of KMC.
Oh, Chemo. And then you have Dr. Jase that I don't know. I think you know. I'm very sure. Okay, so.
We're going to do it 10-10 now. Can we?
18. You stop that, huh? 18, we never fall for after. So you're for this.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sola. Can we have Councillor, Youth Councillor Kemo Bojang to hand out these certificates, please? And they will go to Samuel Henaku, Sanaba Jaula, Sidi Mane, and Sheikh Tijan Jallo. Are they here? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Done? Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Kemo. Can you have Dr. Jase, please, to hand out these other 4 certificates? And that goes to Sirifo Kante, Sukai Jagne, Suleiman Sanyang, and Suleiman Bojang. Thank you, Doctor. Madam Ami Bensouda, can you please do us the honor of handing out these certificates? And they will go to Suleiman Dabo, Suleiman Gay, Tamsir Kenjai, Tamsir Sala, Yafatu Seidi, and Yankuba B. Marena. I guess you're taking your second, sir. All right. Thank you, Madam Bensouda. Last but not the least, let's get Alaji Usainu Ngom to hand out these last certificates, but definitely not the least. And they will go to Yankuba Sow, Yusufa Sen, Ramatulai Mendi, and Samuel Mendi. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Alaji Usainu. Finally, before I take seat, let me just thank the FATU network, because as you know, we did most of these lectures online, and it was all streamed on the FATU network. So we'd like to thank Fatu Kamara and her team, for streaming these live over the past 1 year. To the press, we say a big thank you also. I'm sure the vote of thanks will say so, but I think I should say it. And I want to thank also my staff, because behind all this are my staff. I mean, I don't do this. I have all the crazy ideas, and they implement. So I want to thank you for being there and doing a great job. Everybody else, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for your time. And I will now hand over the podium to Fatu Maloshi. I want to thank you too, but you're members of the press.
Didn't even thank the MC, don't worry. Yes, part of that as well. But thank you so much. I'm pretty sure that the legacy has been set already, because the kind of young people I see here are definitely the ones I'm sure who would be, holding leadership roles in the next 4 to 10 years' time. Amen to that? Right, and so I think from today on, you'll agree to what Pastor Forbes was saying about the size doesn't matter, right? Because he also, I saw Ami Bensoud. I'm like, oh my God, I feel so happy meeting her. But then again, I'm like, okay, Pastor Forbes, we're not alone. There you go. So, right, the size doesn't matter. We agree, right? Okay, all right, thank you so much. And it's an honor meeting you as well, Madam Bensouda. Right, so like Tav said, we've almost come to the end of it at this juncture. I'd like to call on Basiru J to deliver the vote of thanks.
Assalamu alaikum to everyone. The quality of life we are living today has been widely determined by the quality of choices and decisions we have made in the past. My name is Basiru J, and I'm privileged to give the vote of thanks. The respected icon, Mr. Mustafa Njai, alias staff, Madam Chairman, our most valued distinguished guest, fellow graduates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. Around 1,000 senior level organization leaders were surveyed in 2018 Global Leadership Forecast. The data offers insight into the top concern leaders have for the years to come. On this list were issues like slowing growing economic growth in emerging markets, labor locations, and global recessions. However, the top 2 concerns on this list were none of those. Instead, They were develop next generation leaders and failure to attract or retain top talents. These were cited more than twice as frequently as other issues. So when all is said and done, leadership training across the board is something the world should not ignore. Thus, the one-year intensive leadership training of Tough Africa Leadership Academy has taught us to weigh risk and benefit, pros and cons, and to envision multiple possible outcomes, that is to say, better decision makers. This way of thinking is something we all exercise in our daily lives. Every fellow of Tough Leadership Academy sitting here today is able to identify and understand his core values because they are our fundamental beliefs. Those principles we consider to be worthwhile and desirable. Interpersonal maturity, empathy, and futuristic mindsets are manifesting in every graduate of the second cohort of Tough Leadership Academy. Helping young people develop leadership competencies will make them better to solve community problems and enhance their civic participation. So on behalf of the Tough Leadership Academy second cohort, I thank the entire management for their tireless efforts in guiding every fellow along the journey. To our humble, wise, and egregious program coordinators, Ms. Fatou Jeng, who started the journey with us, and Ms. Abis B. Sise, who took over and ride along with us up to the finish line. These young ladies have manifested their leadership prowess in putting us through with meticulous care despite our troubles. To our dignified tutors, somehow called mentors, we are deeply honored and grateful for the substantial knowledge you have all have instilled in every Tafla fellow. We celebrate you all. Finally, a special thank goes to the icon of Africa, the man who once said, and I quote, "By the grace of God, anywhere or any office within the Gambia, if you knock, you will find a Tafla fellow." The man who is reshaping, molding, and polishing the attitudes of Gambian emerging young leaders. Today, the Tough Leadership Academy is certifying 150 young emerging leaders across the length and breadth of the Gambia, who were put through an intensive training with a rich curriculum and tutored by prominent Gambians who are ministers, heads of institutions, social workers, legal practitioners, and medical experts. He built, let me call, a fraternity of young leaders who will be celebrated everywhere someday. The man I am referring to is no other man than the sagacious Mr. Mustafa Njai. Thank you for your comprehensive understanding and your continuous support towards the young people of this nation. We submit our heartfelt appreciation. Sir, may the Almighty continue to flourish your blessings and protect you always for putting smiles on our face. Our parents are happy and proud of us, including my humble mother, the Lord Mayor of Banjul, Rohi Malik Lo. Long live Tough Leadership Academy. Long live the Gambia.
Thank you so much, Basiru. Thank you for that calm and well-delivered speech. Thank you so much, Uncle Tough, for all you do. Thank you to Abyss and her team for putting up a great event A special thanks to our special guests as well. To those of you, congratulations, all 152 of you once again, and to our special guests as well. Those in the different attire there as well, here to grace this event on behalf of their family members here. My mom is also one of them with that yellow scarf because Fatima, of course, is graduating as well. To all of you, thank you so much. And I believe that this is just the beginning for everything that is to come. And organizations like this are just there to stare us a little bit so that we can blossom to become the successful people that we want to be. On that note, I'd like to say that we're going to go outside to take the group photo as well. Yes, that was what Manka was alerting me, that we can kindly go outside and take the group photo, and I hope that we can all have a safe journey back home. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.